Do you know this feeling? You are at work, but you're tired, you're bored, you're completely disengaged. And even though you get paid to be there, it feels like a complete waste of your time. If that has ever been the case for you, then what you're lacking at work is flow. And in this video, I'm gonna break down for you how you can induce more flow state into your daily work. Now, what exactly is flow and why is it so extremely important? According to the Hungarian scientist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who first coined the term flow state, flow is a mental state during which we feel a sense of competence and control, a loss of self-consciousness, and such intense absorption in the task at hand that we would lose track of time. Now, of course, we can experience that sense of flow in a variety of different activities. It can be during sports, it can be while having a nice and engaging conversation, it can be when reading a book. But we spend the majority of our time working, so why not take flow and implement it into our working lives? According to Csikszentmihalyi, this is easier said than done though. It is a constant balancing act between anxiety, where the difficulty is too high for the person's skill, and boredom, where the difficulty is too low. So it is crucial that we hit exactly that sweet spot where our skills match the level of challenge that we're facing. And there are a variety of different things that you can do right now in order to get yourself to that point at your work. The first thing is the presence of clear goals. It can be dreadful to come into work every day and do the same task over and over again without working towards anything particular. Having clear goals will help to counter that. It will sort of artificially create a challenge for yourself because it forces you to focus on achieving something that you have not yet accomplished. Simply having such a goal in front of you, even if it is artificially created, can help to induce flow into your work. The second component to more flow state at your work is getting immediate feedback. Nowadays it is pretty standard that you get review and feedback on the work that you're doing. But oftentimes this is done far too infrequently. Honestly, nobody's motivated on a daily basis because of a review talk that you might have with your manager 6 months from now. Instead, the key component here is having this feedback immediately. Think of work like a computer game. If you're playing a game, you immediately see if you're doing well. You're leveling up, you might beat certain opponents, and you get this immediate feedback that keeps you in a flow state. Our work should be designed much more like that. And we can do that ourselves, for example by setting daily goals or having to-do lists that we need to work through. Whenever you manage to cross something off, you get that dopamine rush that keeps you engaged and keeps you in that flow state. The third tip for more flow state at work is matching your challenges with adequate personal skills. It seems like whenever you talk to people about their job, they either are bored or they're stressed. But what we're aiming for here is the golden middle between those two extremes. You want to always look for tasks or projects that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but just a tiny bit. This is exactly where the magic happens because it forces you to grow, it forces you to learn new things, but at the same time you rely on all the knowledge that you have gained previously. Now, I know that what you're working with is maybe not entirely up to you, and it can be that tasks get very repetitive over time. But in those cases, it is once again up to you to make it more challenging for yourself. Try to do things better, try to do things faster, challenge yourself in whatever way necessary, just to make sure that it doesn't get boring. And on the other side of the spectrum, if you feel like you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling stressed, talk to your manager and tell him, hey, I actually don't yet have the skills required to handle this specific problem. So in order to get there, I actually need to do X, Y, and Z first, and then I'm gonna be capable of handling this as well. This way you're being transparent, you're not complaining about the current situation, but you're giving your manager clear indications of what you need in order to become an even better employee. And I doubt that there's any manager who won't appreciate that. Tip number 4 for more flow is focused attention on the task at hand. It has always been intriguing to get a little bit distracted at work, but in the last 10 years this has become easier than ever. With the rise of social media and the smartphones, nowadays we can be distracted pretty much whenever, wherever. And oftentimes nowadays distraction is actually part of your job. We have Slack, we have Google Hangouts, we have Skype. There are so many different platforms that you need to constantly be up to date when you're doing a standard office job. And sadly, all of that keeps you from doing productive and flow-induced work. Whenever we switch from one task to another, it takes a little while until we're fully immersed in the new task. And the more tasks you're trying to do simultaneously, the harder it becomes to reach that immersion. So what I can recommend is to make a conscious decision to shut down everything except the one task that you need to focus on the most. Don't check your emails, don't check your chats, don't take any meetings. Instead, try to embrace that flow state. I can guarantee you will feel an increase in your productivity and you will enjoy what you're doing a lot more. And last but not least, tip number 5 for more flow state in your daily work life is a perception of control over the situation. Ownership is a buzzword that gets thrown around in companies quite a lot, but rightfully so. Because we need that sense of ownership in order to fully get engaged with the work that we're doing. If you feel like you're working for somebody else, if you feel like you're doing it only because somebody told you to, then you will never reach that flow state. Instead, you want to feel like you are the important person to drive this thing forward, to make something work, to get to the next level, to reach results. Frankly, you want to feel like if you are not there, everything would go to hell. So this is the attitude that you should bring into work every single day. You should walk in there feeling like you own whatever is on your desk. And I'm sure that that will help you advance in your career as well, but most importantly, it will make you feel better about what you're doing on a daily basis. So those were the main tips that I have for you to bring more flow into your work routine. But of course there's quite a bit more that you can do, and I'm gonna link a very good article down here that you can read if you want to follow up and dive a bit deeper into this really fascinating topic of well-being at work and flow in your daily work routine. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you subscribe if you liked the video, and I will see you in the next one.